this is a rarity. A professor is telling us not to feel guilty about racism, Lewis.
Well, this is my subject. Oxford professor says Britain's racial guilt is based on ignorance. And as an Oxford professor myself...
I thought ignorance was more the part of your expertise there.
is this guy, his name is, what is his name? Nigel Bigger. And he was speaking at the Chalk Valley History Festival in Salisbury. He's the Regius Professor of
Just tell us what he said. I don't want his whole Wikipedia bio.
Basically to English people, the reason why English people feel that they've done bad things is because they don't know the true history of British people. And I agree with that. I think Britain is the greatest country in the world, mainly because it created America. And so he said basically that yes, the Britons were involved in slavery, but also the Britons were involved in ending slavery.
Well, we were the first nation to outlaw slavery, I believe. Yeah. And also, we paid, obviously, to end it, we had to pay the people involved in the slave trade to not do it anymore. And the British Navy lost lots of men actually ending the slave trade, fighting to end the slave trade. So, I mean, Britain has paid in money and in blood to end slavery, so why are we carrying this cross around, feeling guilty about slavery, Paul?
I haven't met anyone with any real moral fibre who genuinely feels guilty. I do not feel guilty at all for what people I have no connection with did hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
And the only way we can move on is to draw a line in the sand. Now, that is going to be extremely difficult for some people to do, and I understand why. However, I'm not a practicing Christian, but they practice forgiveness. And the reason they practice forgiveness is because that is the route to a better life. In order for people to move on now, in order for the culture war, you imagine if you said, that's it, we're going to forget it all, the culture war balloon would just go...
Yeah, but what would Dr. Shola Moss-Shogg would do? What would she do for a living? Exactly. You're putting her out of work. In this economic climate, Paul, come on, all these race grifters need something to do.
Well, I'm going to say this, is that I agree with you. I agree. And it's like, I don't go up to an Egyptian and say, where's my reparations for building the pyramids and being slaves back in the Egyptian times?
You did a great job, Lewis.
I don't know. And something, we're not asking for reparations from the Barbary pirates of Algeria and Morocco, or whatever those places are over there, that came into this country and took hundreds of thousands of, maybe it's hundreds of thousands, of British people as slaves.
But luckily, we turned out to be terrible slaves, just incredibly lazy.